good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk podcast. This is the United Show. This is Devil's Advocate. We had a bit of a musical chairs there, their screens there for a second. Me and Stu were swapping places there, almost like Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw at centre back. But we'll
I know who's who.
We won't. Well, I'm probably Harry Maguire out of the two of us, to be fair. But anyway, we are here to talk all things Manchester United. We're here to talk our game tomorrow against Crystal Palace, our first 3 o'clock kickoff of the season. Thank God, says everyone. Finally, we don't have a dirty early Sunday kickoff or an 8 o'clock Sunday. Finally, especially for the match goers, 3 o'clock Saturday. Ideal stuff. I'm joined here today by Stu, Andrew, and Fred. We're here today. Obviously, we're going to preview the game. We're going to talk about obviously Sabitzer. We're going to chat about obviously Marcus Rashford getting player of the month again, and also as well. Look, we're going to chat about obviously Jadon Sancho's position change and what that could actually mean for our system, especially with the fixture congestion that we are facing. First of all, boys. Stu and Andrew, you're both talking about your struggles with I suppose the tickets for the Carabao Cup final, and it's kind of a stressful few days. I know I'm kind of going through the same myself here at the minute, but other than that, how's your week been? How's life been treating you?
Well, apart from Man United sticking about, it's not been a bad week actually. So I kind of I've had a good week really. Just busy. Work's really busy at the minute, so it's just kind of that. But looking forward to the match tomorrow for sure.
Good.
I was going to say the same. Yeah, just been busy, but glad the weekend's here now. United to look forward to. So a good run of games we've got coming up at home. So looking forward to getting back to Old Trafford tomorrow.
Yeah, good stuff. And Fred, how have you been? It's been a while since me and you have been on a show together. I've been pestering you the last few weeks to get you on. I finally got my way today. What's the crack?
Sorry, no, much the same as the boys. Yeah, busy week with work. I'm a commuter, so long hours during the week. So yeah, you've got me on a good day today, and looking forward to United on the weekend. Hopefully, we can carry a bit of momentum and get another win.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Look, it's the football has been I suppose the shining light of many people's worlds at the minute. As I was saying to Fred today, Man United are one of the only things that are keeping me going at the minute with so many different stresses. And talk about stresses, I'm going to come to a couple of comments because the comment section is already battering me. Billy says, Eden all except Keane after screwing me in the weekly seal care quiz last week. That was Reese. I was not on that show. And also Trevor says Keane is stressed as he does not even know if he can get through passport control at Dublin Airport. To be fair, I fly from Shannon, so I don't have to worry about Dublin most of the time anyway. But anyway, look, we will chat about tomorrow's game. Lads, Stu, I'll come to you. Obviously, look, Marcel Sabitzer is coming in on a loan deal to the end of the season. Obviously, coming from Bayern Munich. Actually, quite surprised that the club acted on it very quickly after the unfortunate injury to Christian Eriksen. Ten Hag seemed very happy enough about him coming in. He thinks he's a quality player. And look, I think if you take aside his struggles at Bayern Munich, he seemed to have a very good spell at RB Leipzig. First of all, how excited are you, if you are, about this signing? And do you think he can be, I suppose, an adequate backup for Christian Eriksen while he's out?
I don't really know if I'm excited or not about Sabitzer, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I know people and fans have got quite excited about it from his YouTube clips, etc. But he played a completely different role with Leipzig than what he does again at Bayern Munich. And can you really judge him because he doesn't get in ahead of Kimmich? Probably not really, because we all know we all hold Kimmich in high regard. I think if I'm Ten Hag, though, I'm not blooding him against somebody like Palace. I'm not saying he's dainty enough, but he's got a frigging ponytail, for Christ's sake. And the problem for me, with that, if I'm playing against somebody with a ponytail, I'm blood. That's blood to me. Now I know each to their own with hairstyles, etc. But to me, that's just blood. I'm just going to do you just for the sake of you having a ponytail. let alone anything else, or you're wearing a pair of gloves, or you got those stupid little leggings on, you know, and that's the problem. And the reason I'm talking about this is because Palace are like that. They've got that real energy and that fire and that burn at them that they'll just go for somebody like that. And so, can he come in and slot into Manchester United? Yes, I think he can. Can he come in immediately and slot in? No, I don't think that he can. I don't think he's played since November, has he? He might have played 15 minutes worth of football since November. It's a long time. We've had the World Cup and all of that since then. But, you know, people are saying, look, he gets his shot off, he scores free kicks, he'll replace Eriksen a set piece. But for me, he doesn't start. I would bring him on with about 20, 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, look, we will discuss the starting lineups as well later on, because I'd be interested to get everyone's perspectives, especially like, look, we've plenty of games to come. And I haven't actually, apart from Stu, I haven't spoken to the two lads in quite some time about United, so it'd be good to kind of get some fresh perspective as well. Andrew, you're obviously at the match the other night against Nottingham Forest. Finally, we're in the cup final. Potentially, we could end this 5-year trophy drought. What was the feeling like around Old Trafford? The fact we finally got to a final, and you know, especially when we see the return of Jadon Sancho.
I was going to say, Old Trafford, well, it was bouncing at the end. I think, well, first half, I think we weren't quite running on, you know, full pels, but kind of probably didn't really need to, you know, given we were 3-0 up. But it was not a question of, you know, if we were going to score, it was just when. Because, Forest would, you know, they had their moments in the first half, but, you know, United just stepped it up in the second half as well. And so, as you said about Sancho, he got a lot of love on Wednesday night from the Old Trafford faithful. Even when he was doing his warm-up, we were singing his name, and then even at the end of the game, you know, cheering him off as well. So it's great to see him back as well. It's like, I'm going to say, it's like having a new signing back. So it's going to be, I think he's going to be one of the crucial players coming up for the last, you know, part of the season as well. So, you know, we've got so many games coming up, so it's given Ten Hag an extra player, you know, he can rotate with, and I think he chose the right game to bring him back in as well, because actually I initially thought, oh, he might make the Reading game for the FA Cup. I was like, oh, but Ten Hag chose the right game. We brought him on for the last 20 minutes or so, and I thought he'd go straight on the right wing, and he went through the middle, which I thought, an interesting tactic by Ten Hag. But Bruno went out on the right, and Bruno, I think, would play anywhere as long as he's on the pitch. So, yeah. So
Bruno would play. I guarantee if Ten Hag told Bruno to go left back, he would. Like 100%.
Yeah, you can see when he trapped back and he's trying to defend, he'll be the one trying to get the ball off the opposition as well. So, but yeah, so it's interesting to see how, if Jadon maybe starts tomorrow, or if he comes on again, whether he goes in the same position, which I think for that position through the middle, I think could make him an even more dangerous player as well. So, yeah.
I think he gives us a different perspective in that number 10 position. I think his movement is different to what Fernandes or even the Van de Beek would give us in that position. And I think his 1-2 touch play will help bring the likes of Martial and Weghorst into the game, especially. You know, I think that can definitely work out. And let's say even from a counter attack perspective, like if we win the ball back quickly with like Casemiro and let's say Sabitzer in the middle, and then you have a Fernandes, Sancho, Rashford, and let's say Martial counter-attack, a lot of teams are going to be afraid of that pace going forward. And then consequently as well, if you have Weghorst and let's say Sancho playing the 1-2s, then you have Anthony and Rashford doing basically what Salah and Mane used to do in terms of coming inside and stretching the pitch. It could give us a different dynamic, and again, our attacks would have a bit of variety. And again, interestingly enough, Diogo Dalot coming back into training, I think this is going to be very crucial, lads, because when you look at the way Anthony's been playing, he's been playing better. He's been carrying the ball. His performances are starting to pick up again. But one thing I think Anthony hasn't had, and I think it's maybe actually to his detriment, is an overlapping right back. So he's kind of on his own over. It's always kind of 2v1. I feel like, Fred, with the return of Diogo Dalot into this squad, that we can maybe even see like the Anthony that we did see in his first 4 or 5 games at the start of Man United.
Possibly, yes. But I will say, I think Aaron Ramsaka's had a very good formal spell as well, while Dallow's been out. I think we've tended to go with a bit more of the inverted fullback model, so the fullbacks joining midfield and creating overloads that way. Dallow is better. I think going into midfield is better for Wan-Bissaka. We know that he's probably not the best at crossing, although I think that's a little bit exaggerated at times. But Dallow certainly employs those or enjoys those spaces more so. So, yeah, I think definitely he'll offer that more, and you'll see a different side to Anthony. But I think it'd be a bit of a shame to see Aaron Ramsaka get dropped at the moment. I don't think he's done much wrong. Dallow has got a bit of an injury in him now and then, so I think if we can manage him, integrate him back into the I probably wouldn't throw him straight back in. I think he's only just joined training in the last few days. But in terms of the impact on Anthony, yeah, for sure. Dallow or Anthony experiences best bit of form just before the World Cup with Dallow in the squad behind him. And you probably saw Anthony as well doing a bit more of the defensive work, a bit of his all-round game with Dallow. So yeah, those two probably complement each other. There's obviously a language benefit. They both talk Portuguese. Yeah. It's good to have him back. It's good that we're getting a few players back, like you mentioned. Sancho, Martial's coming back in. So yeah, we're going to need these players because there's a lot of games in the next month or so.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of games. I think, look, what is it? It's every 3.5 days we've games. I think that's the statistic that was thrown out. So, like, look, lads, we've a lot of football to be played. I think one luxury we probably have in certain positions, we've a bit of depth. Like, if you look at both fullback positions, we've two very decent fullbacks in both positions, in Sean Balassi and Joe Wan-Bissaka Dallow now. Again, Wan-Bissaka's future is like where I think I agree with Fred. He has played well, but I think his future under this manager probably is still up in the air because the style of football we play. I dare to say the manager probably want to bring in maybe a Jurriën Timber or someone in that ilk into the fold in the summer. It remains to be seen. But yeah, look, I do have to give Wan-Bissaka his credit where it's due, especially when you consider, like, he had almost 8 months without football, and he slotted straight into the team, and he's like, Joe, he's given us the performances that he has given. You have to give him credit. Like, other players, not going to mention these players by name, but some of these players went 1 or 2 weeks to football, and they're out doing interviews with one of the biggest parasites in the media when they were barely playing games. And then look at Wan-Bissaka's attitude. Joe put the head down, worked hard in this game, and actually, to be fair to him, adapted his game. And like, look, I think that to me, I like that work ethic. I like that attitude. And did I just hear a gust of wind?
There was something.
Sorry, I've put the old fan on. I'll turn it off. I didn't realise it was that. Sorry,
is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realise it was that strong. Sorry,
oh, this is why you love live podcasts. Someone's house is getting blown in there. But yeah, like, Jesus. Yeah, like, look, his application is great. And like, look, one thing I will say is, look, Ireland are looking for 1 or 2 right backs. If he's not getting into the England setup, let's hope we can get him an Irish cousin somewhere, or grandfather or grandmother somewhere. We can go through that role and get him in there, because Matt Doherty is absolutely shocking. Even though, to be fair, he's gone to Atletico Madrid. He must have the best. Matt Doherty must have the best agent in world football right now. He's had to get him moved to Atletico Madrid. Let's hope he can help Ireland in the Euro 2024 qualifier against France. But anyway, we're kind of diverting there to the Irish national team. We will do a podcast on them next week or 2 or whatever. But Stu, I'm going to bring this question to you, because I know you love Chelsea, and I know you love Chelsea and Todd Bowley and the bonanza that, Joe, I suppose the amount of transfers, there's even a transfer story about them every day. But I'm going to bring this one up to you, Stu. Billy asks, as every journalist asks, every Premier League manager today, let's ask the group, do you think Chelsea spending is ruining the game? Is it a bit of Football Manager editor cheat like?
Well, you'd have to say yes, but sometimes you've got to doff your cap to a businessman, and Todd Bowley is a world-class businessman, and I hate that phrase, world-class, as you know. He's a billionaire by rights, and he spotted a gap and a loophole in the system which has allowed him to circumvent financial fair play. So if you put your business goggles on, you'll shake the man's hand and say, congratulations, mate. You've seen it. Nobody else has seen it. All the other clubs are now crying. But Bowley's done what he needs to do. He's achieved what he needs to do in this window and the last window. So when the loophole closes in the summer, he's set up. He's ready to go. Could it backfire on Chelsea? Absolutely. If you're Mudryk and you're, Fernandez, depending on what he's paying them, look, these are earning guaranteed now over 100 million plus guaranteed money in your bank account. So for these guys, it's absolutely fantastic for the players. But it could backfire on them because they couldn't play well. They might have injuries that reduce their overall value, as a player and as the contract. So it's a big risk, but it's something that he had to do. One of the interesting things about what they've done, they're signing players of around 20, 21, 22, 23.
It seems to be maybe long-term with some of the younger players, maybe.
Massively, heavily investing. Where I would take massive issue is if you're an English footballer now, you're Conor Gallagher, Mason. I know Mason Mount's in the squad side tonight. I think Gallagher's in the side tonight. You're slowly but surely going to get pushed out. Something's got to give at Chelsea. Aubameyang's not made the Champions League squad, has he? Nor was that Badiashile. They haven't made the Champions League squad. So something's got to give. When you're buying so many players, something will have to give. He will have a huge clear out, I'm guessing, in the summer. He'll try and do some book balancing. But if you just to take your eyes away from it, and we've got to be very, very careful here as Manchester United supporters, massively, massively careful. Because what we say today could completely change in the summer, depending on who we get come through the door. We might get a Todd Bowley-esque type of person if we get an American consortium that come and buy us, who look at it the way that Todd Bowley does, because we won't have so much issues financially, fair play, because of the amount of income we would generate getting Champions League football again and probably winning one or maybe even two cups and finishing third or fourth in the Premier League. So we generate our own income. Now, if we get whoever and they decide, all right, Eric, here's 300 million quid to spend in the summer, we're going to look pretty stupid if we start having a pop at Chelsea. Now, I went on record, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with another channel. I said Chelsea have changed the way that football has operated. And I went on record 6 months ago and said they've done it again. Because Chelsea were the very first to kind of have the big, huge benefactor in Roman Abramovich, and they were spending big. And then that kind of died down. They allowed Chelsea to kind of, fend for themselves to a small extent. I know he was still funding them. And then 6 months ago, or however long ago it was, Chelsea gets sold for 2.5 billion. Now, you're not going to spend with, by the way, an extra 2 billion on top that they've got to guarantee investment. And it's completely changed the world of football. And this is what all this has done, is put the greed in people's eyes, and the Glazers looked at what happened at Chelsea very, very closely and decided they can make double that, maybe. Who knows what it will be, And so we've got to be very, very careful that we're having a pop at Chelsea. Whether we like it or not, we may well be doing something similar in the summer. And I think we just need to be mindful of that. But the guy is playing FIFA. You're absolutely right. He's playing FIFA. But he's got a march on everybody else. When you look at the two players he's bought, look, Fernandez, I'm not overly bothered about the Mudryk. He looks a real talent. Real talent. So when you look at what he's doing and the squad that he's building, he looks like he's going to give Potter time. He's got no choice. You can't just go and sack a manager by dropping. What's he signed? Is it 6 players in January?
Badiashile, Maduke. I think that someone might tell me how to pronounce that.
Fofana,
Fernandez.
Hernandez.
He's got Nkunku coming in
in the
Yeah,
summer.
He's coming in.
Joe
Yeah.
Felix as well just came in.
Jack
Yeah,
Felix,
Felix, of
forget about
course.
Jack Felix. So I know it's only a loan play, but they're still paying his salary. So all I will say is we just need to be careful, because what are we going to do? What are we going to say as fans if Qatar come in and give us an open checkbook? I don't agree with it, by the way. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I don't want us to do it. I'd like us to be run like Newcastle, if I'm being honest. Conservatively, I don't want to see us go out and spend stupid money on players, but it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
Look, I think it's a fair point, and I think when it just be interesting to see what happens long term, because like, look, if results don't go Potter's way this season, does Bowley still back him after putting 600 million in? Like, I think, like you said, you have no choice to do it, because you can't sack a manager like Thomas Tuchel and then not back Potter. Like,
No.
he's been like, look, financially he's been backed, but he needs to be given the time to like bet in these players. Like Steve McGrath made a very fair point the other day that all the players coming in is maybe almost kind of akin to do. It's not to the same money and same extent, but remember when Andreas Villas-Boas was given like 8 players when Gareth Bale was sold, and he didn't get time to bet him in. Then a couple of months later, he was sacked, and then Tim Sherwood was brought in, and then he was sacked, and then they brought Poch in, who finally, reinvigorated Spurs. Now, obviously, Chelsea's a bigger club; it's a bigger scale, but it is. Look, it's a strange situation. Personally, look, I don't think they should have sacked Tuchel. Sean who was a Chelsea fan on this podcast, disagrees. Look, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Chelsea. But look, we're going to park Chelsea right there, because this is not Mark's and Sean's pod where they talk about United and Chelsea. This is Devil's Advocate. Well, look, I appreciate the Chelsea question, but
Yeah,
I'm going to park that where it is. But I'm going to bring up a question to everyone here in the panel. I'm going to go to you first with this, Fred. Martial or Weghorst? When you look at this team and you look at the way we play, and you look at, let's say, Martial's injury record this season, what does Eric Ten Hag do with our number 9 position? Because obviously, look, long term, we want to buy a new striker. I think that's not a secret. Eric Ten Hag wants like an Osimhen or a Harry Kane or someone of that ilk. Right now, that's not possible. We have 2 number 9s in Martial and Weghorst at our disposal. What are you thinking in terms of our system, and who would you prioritize right now?
First of all, I don't think either are the answer in the long term, just in terms of reliability and quality. But I think all things being equal, both players being fit, you've got to go Martial. I think he just offers more to the squad. He's more experienced in the league. He has an influence on the other players around him. I don't think there's a coincidence when he and I know Rashford came on in the last game against Forest as well. But as soon as he came on, he obviously got his goal. We got a couple of goals quickly. I think Weghorst is a good player. I think he's doing well, but he's a squad player. He's not a first team Premier League starting striker. Neither is Martial, in my opinion, for title winning side. But I think you've got to go Martial when he's fit. But Ten Hag's got to manage him, because the problem is he's always, he's unreliable. He's always injured, spends most of the time on the injury bench. So, it wouldn't surprise me if he treats Martial like an Eriksen figure, plays him 60 minutes, brings on Weghorst for the last 30 minutes, that type of scenario. But when he's on form, Martial, very good player, very good hold-up play, brings in the wide players, he can come deep, he can be on the last man. He looked a bit lacking match fitness, which is what you would expect against Forest. Certainly, I think he's passed his goal. He should have been he better pass the Rashford. He sort of scuffed it, and then fortuitously it came back to him. But he's got a goal in him. He's got a good goal and assist record. I think at the beginning of the season it was better than most of the strikers in the league. But yeah, look, I think Ten Hag's got to start him, but Weghorst is, at least we've got another option in Weghorst now. Before January, it was just Martial, and we would have had to put Rashford centrally, which then we lose our main outlet on the left. So it's good to have options. I think he'll start Martial tomorrow, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see Weghorst get about half an hour towards the end of the game. Yeah,
it's interesting, and I think one thing we noticed about Martial this season, I think the manager he has right now it gets the best out of him in terms of the system. We see his full skill set, like we do. But again, it's just always that thing about Martial is, can we keep him fit? And I think long term we have to look at it and say, like, he's probably not the answer if we want to go on and progress, because you can't rely on a number 9 that can't stay fit all season. Now, do we hit with double-edged sword there and buy Harry Kane, who also has injury problems? That's no doubt he'll get you 20 goals a season, and no doubt like he'll probably catapult United into title challengers. But then you have the problem of buying Harry Kane, who has ankles made of glass. Then his ankles go, and then all of a sudden, then you have Martial back. You have Martial's your number 2 striker. He gets injured, and then you're back in the situation of you play Rashford up top, and then you're kind of stuck in that same scenario. So it'd be interesting to see what Ten Hag does, especially in the summer, whether he goes and buys, let's say, an Osimhen, or maybe even Dos Sesko or someone of that ilk. But it's very, very interesting. Andrew, you were obviously in the ground the other night, and when you were watching the game, what do you make of Martial's cameo, and especially his link up with Jadon Sancho?
So yeah, he did well when he came on. Just with Martial, I always think it's the consistency from Martial. I'm like, and obviously staying fit as well. But I'm just like, I think was it during the COVID season where he bagged over 20 goals, but we've not had anything like that since. And I'm like, well, I don't know, he wants to be like the guy that's going through the middle, but I'm just like, sometimes I see him in games where he drifts over to the left. I'm like, that leaves nobody in the box. I'm like, well, we're on the attack and then there's no one there in the box. Well, if we cross it in, there's going to be no one to score it. Whereas their course, he gives us that option. He's a target man. He's like a proper centre forward, most of the game. Well, he does come out of the box and try and play a bit deep sometimes, but he'll stay mostly in the box. One who a bit like Van Nistelrooy, just to like stay in the box and like get the ball into me. I'll do the rest and I'll score. So with Weghorst, he gives us a plan B. So I'm just thinking tomorrow. I just think, who is he going to start? I think he might likely start Martial because, as I say, did an all right cameo, and he obviously scored the goal as well. So I just think Weghorst can, nurse Martial through these run of games at the moment, so he doesn't pick up another injury. We're just forced to rely on, Weghorst as the sole striker. I know Rashford can go through the middle as well, but I feel like he's better on the left. So it's just, I don't know in the summer whether Martial will stay or not, but I just think we just need an out-and-out centre forward. So at the moment, I just don't think Martial can do that role.
Yeah, I think, look, his skill set, I think it suits the system, but in terms of, let's say, the 20 to 25 goals that you're going to need from a striker in the league, is he capable of that season on season? No. Injury record, that speaks for itself as well, so it's a tough one. Like Connor even says here, Martial's crucial to our team, but he can't stay fit. I think that's the most frustrating thing, is that he can't stay fit. Because when he's fit and firing, we've seen in pre-season, we've seen early on in the season, he can contribute, and he is a talented player, but it just begs the question, his injury record. But again, some players are built differently than others, and I think, maybe it's a genetic thing that he keeps getting injured. It's not something that can, he can help. And I see Stu smiling there when I said that. But it is true, though. Some players are built different, and unfortunately, Martial is in that I suppose that category of players who can't, I suppose, not necessarily look after himself, but he's just prone to an injury, and I think that's just the unfortunate situation. But Stu, I'm going to come to you on a man we've been discussing all season, and we've been having great conversations, and we've been just gushing over the fact his rebuild has been in some words different. And I'm going to quote Connor here, because Connor says Stu was built different. Well, so is this man too, Marcus Rashford. Second month in a row, Stu, getting Manchester United Player of the Month, but now today, Premier League Player of the Month. What are your thoughts just on his form right now? Because he's just, it seems like he's on another level, and a lot of Man United fans are saying right now that we're getting a bit maybe too reliant on Marcus. What would you say to that? And also just discuss his form as well.
Yeah, the good thing about Rashford is you've actually seen a man and a player take charge of his own career. So he's the one that's decided which trajectory he wants to go on now. And he's the one that's put the work in, built himself up to the kind of phenomenon that he is right now in terms of a physical specimen and the way that he sees the game of football. A lot of people accredited Ten Hag. You can't do it. Ten Hag will tell him what to do, but you can only do it yourself. I say this all the time. It's you as an individual, as a man, and as a person that is your own destiny is your own hands. And he popped himself off in the summer. He went away. He got his head down, and he worked, and he worked, and he worked, and he worked. And we're now seeing the rewards of his hard work. We don't know what went through his head for 18 months. There was obviously issues. He was feeding kids, which was absolutely brilliant, and everybody loved that. And I never really bought into the fact that he was taking his eye off the footballing ball, so to speak, in terms of the way that he plays and the way that he trains. Because I don't think he was ever like that. I just think it got too much for him. Whatever was happening, he was being pulled all over the place at club level and at MBE level, etc., etc. But Rashford is a great example, and Martial should look at him, and Anthony should look at him, and all these players should be looking at him and saying, "Look what the kid's done." He's almost taken a leaf out Ronaldo's book, and he's come back this absolute phenomenon. What I like about him at the minute is Keane, is that he's attacking the diagonal again. He started to attack the diagonal. What he did in 19 and 20, when he scored those goals, same with Martial, he becomes very, very dangerous. He's expert now at slowing the defender down so he could cut inside behind him. He's brilliant at that in a minute. Before, when he was a youngster, and Garnacho does it all the time, he'll just push and push and push the defender, and he won't allow. Oh, sorry, he kind of. What he used to do was kind of cut his space off, is what I'm getting at, towards the byline. He doesn't do that anymore. He slows the defender down at the right time and gives him the space that he needs to work. If he can't get through, he'll do something with it. He'll drop it short, and then he'll try and penetrate the box. Where he needs to step up his game is his crossing. And you were talking about Weghorst and you were talking about Martial. There's a lot of people in the chat saying they're not really into Weghorst, etc., etc., etc. He is a different, as Andrew explained, he's a different type of player. You need that service. He's not even getting half a service, let alone a full service. If he goes into a brothel, he's paying 10 quid rather than 50 quid because that's what he's getting in terms of service. All right. So he needs that because Anthony on the right side, he's just doing that stupid little step over all the time instead of dealing with the ball. So he stops, faces a defender up, and the defender's going, all right, then I'm just going to watch your feet now. What you can do with it. Whereas Rashford, he's doing something completely different, but none of them are crossing. So that's our issue with Weghorst, by the way. So in answer to your question, you've got to look at Rashford and say, fair play to you, fella, because he's literally gone away and he's developed into the player we all knew he could be, but he's got to take that next step up. I'm really impressed with Rashford at the minute. Really, really impressed. I'd love to see Garnacho work with him closer. And then Rashford can kind of explain to him the trajectory where he needs to go at any one time, and how you get the best out of upsetting a defender, so to speak, at the right back.
Yeah, like I think when you look at the way Rashford's developed in the last kind of 12 to 18 months, we've seen a lot of instability at the club last season, like manager changes, and then obviously the stuff happened in the dressing room, and consequently you look at now then bad influences that were in the dressing room are now gone, and we're seeing some players shine better than what they have before. So look, it's a testament to itself why he done off the pitch in the summer, and
massive.
It shows dedication, and it's something that we wanted our players to do. And it's just this in reference to what you said as well. I'm going to bring this one to Fred as well. He says Billy really hopes Sancho comes back like Rashford, and whatever personal issues he's had are behind him because he's a great player. Fred, when you're looking at Jadon Sancho, like how excited are you to see him kind of get back into the team and contribute? Considering, look, we've seen in patches how good he can be. We've seen at Dortmund how promising he was as a prospect, and like even when he was at England under 17 level as well. Do you think, like, look, with this rebuild right now, and you look at the amount of attacking players we have at the moment, how crucial is it for Jadon Sancho to hit the ground running again?
We're using Stu's brothel analogy. Sancho would turn up with a wad of cash because the service he provided at Dortmund, I mean, this guy's creativity. I think we're quite lucky his return is coinciding with Eriksen's unfortunate departure, because I think he has the potential to offer something that Eriksen has done. Look, I think we don't know the ins and outs of why he's been at the squad, but I think we can all trust the manager in terms of the decision he's made to send him away, work on what he needs to, and integrate him back in the manner he has. I mean, the proof is in the pudding with Wan-Bissaka, for example. He didn't play the first half of the first quarter of the season. It was Dalot solid, and he came back, hit the ground running very quickly, and he did the same with a few other players too. I mean, he integrated Casemiro in. So I think we've got full faith in Ten Hag and how he's integrating Sancho back. And I think he's going to come back very strong, and he's going to offer a lot for the second half of the season. It was very interesting that he played in the 10. I don't think many people saw that coming. But again, a very good move. It's like Ten Hag mentioned, I think he was asked after the game, and he focused the answer on, okay, Bruno offers something on the right as opposed to Sancho in the middle. But the only issue with Sancho, I think, in this league, and the only concern I had with him, and I have a similar concern probably with Anthony as well, is they don't have that explosive pace as a wide player, which Rashford does have, which Garnacho does have, for example. So he gives another outlet, really. He is technically very good. I think that's his main strength, Sancho. He's an intelligent player. And I think he's more, playing just behind the striker, he's more in the mould of like a Jesse Lingard type of player, in that he's a ball carrier. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a better player than Jesse Lingard, but he's more of a carrier. He can carry the ball forward, 20 yards in quick succession, as opposed to Bruno, who can, ping a pass diagonally, short and long quite easily. So, yeah, I think he's a very, very good. He's come back in a very good time. Like you said earlier, we've got 2-3 games a week now till April, May. He's another body. He's another quality player, and I think he's going to sort of plug a few gaps in terms of goals and assists. So, yeah, hopefully he contributes. I think he will. We'll probably see the next few games he comes off the bench. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually he rotates with Anthony. Even gives Bruno the opportunity to have a night off now and then. But yeah, very, very happy he's back.
Yeah, Bruno needs a night off as well. That man just loves playing every game. He's only missed like 3 games since he's signed for the club, which is, I think that's obscene. Really, the man's a different animal. But yeah, like, look, it's very interesting to see how he'll come back and how he integrates this team, and especially like, look, I think we've a bit of versatility in certain positions now that we can kind of rely on players, especially in the second half of the season, that we can see a bit of rotation and give us a different dynamic in attack. I think that's the most important thing. But we are coming towards the end of the preview. So what we're going to do is we're all going to predict an 11, and we're going to give our score predictions. But Andrew, I'm going to come to you with this final one just before we do that. We played Palace at Selhurst Park last time, and almost like the other day, I think the Casemiro yellow card sucked the life out of every player in the pitch when that happened. I suppose the tide turned at that point. Do you think these United players are going to be out gunning for revenge and actually make a statement, considering, I think most of that game we were the better side? Do you think these players are going to go out and prove a point?
Oh, definitely. I think we'll be on the front foot tomorrow. I think the Palace game, we went ahead in that first half, but then we seemed to just back off in the second half, and it was like, well, we needed that second goal because Palace, the free kick they scored, it was brilliant. If United players scored that, we'd have all been lauding it. So it was one of those. It just, the Casemiro booking, we all had our head in our hands going, he's out of the Arsenal game. But despite, not, drawing against Palace and then the disappointment of Arsenal, we're in relatively good spirits going into the Palace game. So I just think, we're on the front foot. We'll just, break Palace down. And then once we score one, we're going to go for the second and the third. So hopefully, we're coming away with the 3 points tomorrow.
Yeah. Definitely, I think. Look, Richard says professional pride. The comment section. I'll come to a couple of comments in a sec, but yeah, look, I think professional pride is something that will definitely should play a part. I think these players should definitely want to make a point, especially the fact, like, look, I think that dropping them 2 points, I think, kind of wrote off any chance of United, and obviously losing to Arsenal wrote off any chance of a title charge at that point. But I do think that I think we do need to make a statement because we've Palace now and then we've Leeds twice in the league, so I think we need to make a statement tomorrow and Joe put the fear in God into Leeds because we always seem to give them a hiding, and I think, look, if we give Palace a hiding tomorrow, it sets the tone for Wednesday night. But on that note, I'm going to come to a couple of comments. I'm not going to come to your score prediction one, Billy, yet because I will bring it up in the score predictions. But Connor says Bruno on the 8, Sancho on the 10, and Garnacho and Rashford out wide. That would be very, very tasty. It's like having an ultra attack on in FIFA with that formation there. And yeah, Richard says professional pride should make that happen. And Fred, we have a question for you. Trevor says that Dyson hairdryer behind Fred, never knew he was a hairdresser.
The
Fred,
hairdryer's in the drawer.
You confirm it tonight, Fred. Are you a hairdresser?
I'm not a hairdresser, no.
No.
Sorry, Trevor.
No. So Trevor,
although I did cut a few hairs in lockdown, but yeah, I wouldn't pride myself as a hairdresser.
Not at all. So Trevor, if you're looking for a fresh fade, you're still gonna have to go to some barber in Ireland wherever you're situated. But yeah, look, we will give our starting 11 predictions. I'm going to come to you first, Andrew. What would be your preferred 11 tomorrow?
I think it's going to be obviously De Gea in goal, the back four, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, and Shaw. Casemiro and Fred's going to be the midfield, for the next good few games. I think he's going to put, Anthony in. He's going to be in there again. Fernandes, Rashford, and I think he will start Martial as well. I think he'll get 60 minutes and then Weghorst will come on as well. So depending on how the game's going. So yeah, that would be my lineup for tomorrow.
Interesting. Andrew sees a return for Anthony Martial tomorrow. Very interesting. On the back of a very good cameo performance. And Stu, are you in the same line of thinking? Do you agree with Andrew's lineup, or would you look for something different?
No, Andrew's pretty much spot on. I'm just toying with. I think he'll go with Weghorst though. That's my only thing. Only by virtue of I'm not so sure Martial's ready to start yet. He started, didn't he, against City, and then he came off at half time because he was injured. So I don't see him starting, but everything else I 100% agree with. But it's one of those, isn't it? I'd like to see Garnacho in over Anthony, if I'm being honest. But I think it'll be Weghorst rather than Martial. That's the only change I would make.
Yes, Stu was going to go Weghorst over Anthony Martial. Fred, are you in agreement with two lads, or do you want to throw a spanner in the works?
As much as I would love to, unfortunately, I'm out of spanners. I agree with Andrew. I think Martial will start. I think Weghorst has he's played quite a few games in a row. It'll be up to if Martial obviously is fit. I'm not sure if he went off with an injury. Oh no, he came on second half, didn't he? He came on second half, didn't he?
Yeah, he went off the
game before, wasn't it?
City, didn't he? And then he went off. So
that's right.
It's going to be one of those. It's going to be Martial and Weghorst, isn't it? Yeah. I tend to agree. Yeah.
I mean, he could. You never know. Sabitzer could throw him in. I don't think he will, but yeah, that could be a wild card from Ten Hag over Fred if so. But yeah, I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my line up there. I'm going to throw the spanner into the works. Phil Jones in the 6. I'm only messing. I'm only messing.
Chance, no one knows.
No. That ship has sailed a long time ago. I'll go to here in the net. Obviously, look, by virtue of default. Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. I think Shaw comes back in.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go Sabitzer at the start. And the only reason why I say it is the way Ten Hag was talking in the press conference, he gave me the feeling he might start tomorrow. So I'm going to go Casemiro, Sabitzer, and I'm going to go Fernandes, obviously. And I'm going to go Anthony, Rashford, and I'm actually in agreement. I think Weghorst will start tomorrow. I think what he'll do again, he'll give up Martial a half an hour.
Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
He'll give Martial a half an hour tomorrow, and he'll start him against Leeds, especially with their high line. I do think Martial will start against Leeds rather than tomorrow. And Connor said Sabitzer isn't ready to start yet. We played 1 minute in the league since November. Look, I'm throwing a spanner in the works with that. Because all the lads went with the status quo. So one of us has to be different. Usually it's Reese that throws a spanner into the works and the predictions. Reese is not here, unfortunately. So
No.
I have to throw the spanner in the works somehow. And then Richard asks, how much do you lads Phil Jones is on a week? I think that's public knowledge. It's like 110 or 130 grand a week, something like that.
120 in it, 120.
Yeah, somewhere in around that figure. And yeah, Phil Jones isn't in the updated squad, unfortunately. Not. And Trevor reckons Phil Jones on a pint of lager and 2 packets of crisps. I wouldn't think he'd be sitting there at home.
110,000 of them.
In this cost of living crisis, I don't think he's on that now, to be fair. I don't think he'd be happy with not playing football with that one. But do like and subscribe as well, guys. So we do appreciate your support as well. And look, it's a very, very good show here. So I really do appreciate the lads coming on this evening. But we will get the score predictions for tomorrow's game. As I said again, a 3:00 kickoff. Thank the Lord. I've been sick of either 12:30 Sunday or 4:30 Sunday or 8:00. I can't wait for a Saturday game.
Do you get the 3:00 on TV, Keane?
In Ireland, we do, yeah.
Oh, you probably do, don't you?
Yeah, no wonder you're happy. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, but look, to be fair, I have a Fire Stick anyway, so even in the mountain telly, I'm watching it on BN Sport or something like that. Now the guards are probably coming to the door after
Trevor.
No, someone's ringing my local guard station now. My door will be kicked in now for piracy or something. But yeah, I retract that statement, by the way.
Yes, retract.
But yeah, look, it's an exciting game tomorrow, and hopefully Man United do not ruin my weekend. But we're going to get the score predictions. Jarvis says 2-0 Man United. I hope it's not. I hope it's 2-0 Man United anyway. Andrew, give me your score prediction for tomorrow.
I'd say, having dropped 5 points in the last 2 games, you can't afford to drop any more points. If you want to secure that top 4 place. But I'm confident tomorrow we'll be back to winning ways. So I'm going to go 2-0 to us.
So there's another 2-0. Jarvis said 2-0 and Andrew said 2-0. Connor says he can't stand 3:00 kickoffs. Fred, give me your score prediction.
I'm going 4-0. All out. We've got players coming back. We want to get the 13th win at Old Trafford in a row. I don't think Palace. I think I've read some of that they haven't scored in 5 out of the last 7. Obviously, one of those had to be us, didn't it? So they're lacking in goals at the moment. And Zaha is injured for 6 weeks, so I think is their best player. So yeah, I think we can carry the momentum for the cup semi-final win into this game. I just hope that the players still have the energy to keep going, and Ten Hag does rotate, and the momentum gets us over the line. But I think we can have a bit of a goal fest tomorrow, and I think Rashford will grab a few more. So yeah, I'm going to go 4-0.
4-0, lovely. I'm delighted someone's gone in there and said we're going to absolutely back tomorrow. Connor says 4-1 as well.
Connor, God.
It's that
De Gea clean sheet. Come on.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's definitely David De Gea tax not coming off his line or something with that goal we can see.
100%, yeah. 100%.
Probably. Yeah.
I reckon Martinez is going to absolutely take out that striker. He was the one that elbowed him, Mateta.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of revenge, should we say, payback, because Ten Hag was fuming after that game. I think.
Martinez will have a receipt or two to dish out tomorrow. Stu,
I'd dish it out.
Oh well, yeah.
He nearly was on Wednesday night as well when Varane got injured. So Martinez was like, I think was it Sam Surridge tackle Varane, and then literally Martinez was just over there going, "You ain't messing with my team, mate." So just literally getting up in his face.
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 King. That's what I predicted early on in the week, and my mate Wout Weghorst will score.
I'm delighted you said Weghorst because comments have been battering him tonight. So
I think he'll score. Yeah,
I'm glad Stu said Weghorst to score. I'm going to go 3-0, lads. Even though I contradicted myself with the David De Gea comment, hopefully we batter him that much that David De Gea has fuck what to do tomorrow. So I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go with Rashford because I actually haven't captained on fantasy football. I'm going to go, I'm going to go Jadon Sancho off the bench. And, let me think. Casemiro will get one as well. So I'm going to go there. My 3 goal scorers. If Jadon Sancho scores tomorrow, that would be absolutely fantastic. And because obviously we're playing against Crystal Palace, I have to bring this comment up. Remember when that silly dance Alan Pardew did in the FA Cup final? He thought he'd beaten us. Yeah, that was classic. When's his 8-year deal up with Newcastle? But on that note, we will wrap it up there. Thanks very much to the lads for coming on, and also thanks very much to all the boys coming on and everyone in the comments as well. It's been a good show. Hopefully everyone has a good weekend, and as always, do like, share and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. But on that note, we're out here.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Yeah.